I did the chickens pour all the feed in the first time in my um, containers. We use containers at first, large containers, and then use this and pour the feed inside. What's the problem? Well, over here, the problem we had was my son twice did not close the lid. Did not close the lid, did not close the lid completely. And water got in it. Oh, he didn't close the lid once. And then the second time he threw wet feed, a container of wet feed inside. Okay, he's a kid. Okay, 12, 11, 12. And he threw a container of wet feed in there. And what does that do? Wet feed and rain. It moistened my feed. And when the rain got in the bottom, even though the top looked dry, the bottom was wet and soaked. Anyway, it turned into mush and maggots and all of that inside of it. It was just terrible. So before it got bad, rancid, I scooped out the mush maggots, threw it out for the chickens. They eat that. They eat worms. They eat maggots. They eat this stuff. I threw it out for them. But once it starts to smell or like rancid smell, I threw all that out. Animals in the woods could eat that. Threw it all out. So what I do now is I just put, and you can't hold as much, but I put the big bags inside. I cut the tops off, put the big bags inside, and close them like potato chip bags. Wrap them down, put a clamp, whatever, and keep. So I have 2 or 3 bags inside of there. So you can't hold as much when you put the whole bag in there because they're standing up. Whereas when you pour the whole thing in it. So once I get my roof contained, situated, then maybe I could just dump the feed in there. But here's the thing. If you ever have a problem for whatever reason, it gets wet, moisture, then you may possibly lose the whole thing. That's the thing, and that's why I kept them in the bag, so that if some moisture get in there, more than likely I'm not gonna lose all my bags of feed because the other bags aren't even open. Okay. And again, storage. When you have the shelter, I haven't gotten around to it, but I wanted to put a shelf here to hold my hay. And I'm still planning to do that. I just gotta finish my roof and all that. But the plan is at least this high and to go across and have a shelf in here. And then I can stuff all my hay on top and I don't have to worry about the goats tearing into it. Or again, I have another stall to store your hay that they cannot access. They can pull hay through that cattle panel. And that's been a constant problem. So you really need either a separate location or a separate stall, something closed in, even that area right there. Maybe I need to build a little cabinet there. Oh, just a built-in cabinet just for the hay and the food inside. I did it on the outside, but again, lesson learned. Okay, so I'm just telling you what I've learned. Your hay needs to be dry. It needs to stay dry. Keep it wrapped in plastic so it doesn't get dry and moist or moldy, and keep it away from the goats so that they don't throw it on the floor and use it as toilet. Okay, so that's been several things I've told you, several steps. We talked bedding, we talked log security, we talked storage, okay, containers, weatherproofing, um, doors, lights, food, okay, solar lights, yeah. So I think those are the steps. So it's 8, 10 steps up in there. Lessons learned, and that's what I'm gonna call this, like lessons learned for backyard goat keeping. Cattle panel, cattle panel, cattle panel, and winterize before winter. I'm glad I did before the freezes came in here. So yeah, I think those are the main things. Then after that, guys, once you have the basics down, then you could go to beautifying your property. I have to get to church. Okay, and this you must have, as I mentioned, with the salt. And you use whatever salt you want to use. They say minerals. That's what I use. Dollar store, $1 or $1.25 now. Everything's going up. But the goat Shirley, she got out, knocked the door down, and next thing you know, she's standing on, and we had just remounted it from this wall to this wall, and she came and stood on top of it. But again, we must have used a shorter nail. I think that's only a 1 inch nail. Not thinking a screw. Not thinking she was going to stand on it. Trying to get up here thinking there was a treat in there. Because I keep the treats down just to access. And she was trying to get the treat. So she stood in it. Lesson learned. But you need it low. I wouldn't have put it low. But you need it low for them to get to. Okay. So longer nail, and don't keep my treats there. Normally they're in the bucket, but I took them out because the hay is there, getting on my nerves. So that has to be changed, but not today because I don't work on Sundays. 32 minutes I've just lost. Okay, so you have to have baking soda and a mineral. Okay, so I'm using pink salt. I had a rock brick also, a salt brick, sorry, a salt brick, and that's what's left of the salt brick and the baking soda. You could also pour that stuff on top of your goat's food, but they need that. They know when they need it. The goats they'll just go to it. So I just put it there. It's there for them to free graze. I like having in my goat shelter, and I already had these already from the dollar store. I just buy stuff like that. For $1, you get you some hooks. I just literally just set the hooks. I didn't no mount, just set it there. You're always going to need a hook for something. We put the flashlights up there, the buckets up there. You could put hook or rake or something, whatever. Okay, I want to mount more hooks. I just haven't gotten to it yet. Okay, have to go to church. I gotta do a quick sweep of the shelter if I have time before church, and yeah, I think those are the lessons. I will go over the video later and count them, and we'll put in a thumbnail, like, blank lessons, lessons learned, or steps for establishing goat shelter, something like that in here. This is the process, the landscaping I started putting together. Again, not complete because I have not screwed the pieces of wood together yet. This is just there for decoration. I found this morning or yesterday morning a pumpkin behind there, but it was really windy yesterday, and also my son put the goats here in this space. Anyway, that's just so that the tarp doesn't blow off. Right now it stayed on all night. It wasn't as windy, and again the goat shelter is dry inside, but yesterday it rained and it did get wet in there. So today all that'll be swapped out, but I have to work on that. So this will be painted white, the 4x4s, and the wall back there will be white. And we'll start when we do get everything together for each season or holiday. We'll decorate, the same thing for the chicken cages as well. So remember to, you definitely need a lock. Gotta have a lock, keep your goats in. So if they get out, um, that is more that was for to keep them in, but now that door in there is more. You don't want your ghost to poop all over your shelter and be roaming all up in there where your supplies are. So this is just the security of it. Um, yeah, security of your shelter, and just to keep predators out, and those stalls are to keep the goats in. Yeah, and again, the goat jumped inside the feeder. The troughs is a good idea, but a couple things, lesson learned. The trough needs to be, I'm going to have to take it down. It needs to be lower and a little smaller. Again, I made it this wide because another video I saw, a goat shelter, they made it too narrow, like only as wide as one picket wide. And he said that was his biggest regret. It was just too narrow. So I said, oh, I'm going to do better than that. I'm going to make sure it's wider. It's too deep. Unless you're going to use it for storage, it's too deep. And my stuff got wet up in here. So even though my boards are really tight, it still rain got up in there. It was closed. Yeah, I could put a tarp on top of it, type of thing, but I would not put anything like hay up in here that's going to get wet if you're using, pickets on this. But I would make it more narrow, and but I do like being able to store stuff. That's the yellow light. Don't buy this. That's brand new. Never, the button never worked. Let me show you. Don't waste your money. Ever ready? Waste of money. Literally, take your $5 or however much it costs and just set it on fire. They never work. And this is the fourth or the sixth one because I normally buy them in twos and they never work. Never. Don't waste your money. the buttons don't work. I think Home Depot or Lowe's. Don't buy them. I don't care. Walmart, don't buy them. You know, they're made in that place. Don't buy them. Okay, keep your rake handy, and you'll need a place to store it. I just lean mine against the shelter wherever. But once I'm done, I'm going to put hooks on the side. When you're in the yard, you need your rake or rakes, and you need to have a hole in case there's any snakes. And everyone knows I killed a snake a couple months ago in the goat shelter, or last month in the goat shelter. But I'll put hooks here and just hang my rake there and my hole. Hi, girls. No feed. Get to work. Haven't done this side yet. It'll need to dry out. So, um, God, I'm just thinking of my schedule. What's going on? I don't work on Sundays. Monday is already jam packed. Um, I might have some time Tuesday morning or Wednesday, and hopefully it's dry and I could start painting. Um, we'll see. And I haven't gotten behind it at all. You know, not a priority. Not a priority, but I put that back there instead of the other side. I use black plastic bags. In this side, I use this roofing tarp, some leftover. Again, I used to have that around the house because I have a raised house, and all that all came down, fell apart during the storm, all got pulled off. So I decided to keep it, and it's going to go up here, and I have more on a roll. So I'll rock in that area eventually. And again, the 4x4s will be white, and the walls from the recycled wood will be red. Again, you will not be able to tell the difference between new wood and used wood once it's painted. You won't be able to see that. Okay? You won't. And who cares what the back looks like? That some is rusty material that I've used that's been on the property for years. And old plywood. Who's going to be back here? Nobody but me. Okay. Nobody but me and my kid. Or a goat. And you guys better not be back here. That's a no-no for you. Okie dokie, people. Okay. And we'll discuss that in another video. Okay. Yes, I need to cover up my compost, people. I know. It's just a lot. Okay. Alrighty. So that's my goat shelter there. Those are my goats. Laverne and Shirley, they're Nubians. Okay, so those are my lessons learned. I will count them down and put in another video for you. This is a 39-minute video, probably my longest ever. Okay, guys, quick. Look at that. That was just a sneak preview. Okay, guys, leaving you again with another beautiful day, a beautiful view, beautiful Sunday after the storm last night. So beautiful. I have to let my chickens out. I haven't let them out yet. But just a beautiful view. And it's just me and Cotton Ball out this morning. Hi, Cotton Ball. I said, let the chickens out. Okay, guys, thank you for tuning in. It's been a long video. I hope you learned something here from my mistakes. And yes, you see, I've had many I've learned. But God is good. Preparing for the future. Always prepare for whatever. This is not preparing for Armageddon. This is not preparing for World War III. Be prepared. Self-sufficiency, self-sustainability is very important. Our generations and generations before, everybody lived off the land. People knew how to grow their own food and raise their own chickens and have their own animals and take care of themselves. You didn't have to go to stores, you know and before stores, people did this. So that's what this is about. Learn to be self-sufficient. Live off the land. Use your land, no matter how big, no matter how small. Use your land for your benefit, for the benefit of you and your family. You do what you love. Stress relieving sometimes. And you will teach your children how to be self-sufficient. You can still live in a high-rise building and have a great CEO type of job, but know how to grow your own food and where your milk comes from and where your eggs come from. Just learn it, teach it, pass it down so that it's a skill that you could pass down for generations and generations. That's what I'm trying to do, to live by, to know, because I wasn't taught. I was raised in the city. I wasn't taught. So with that said, teach, pass it on, Have a beautiful and blessed day. And most importantly, happy homesteading.